Hostages freed in Gaza, ceasefire and the complex road to peace. Welcome to Global X, your window into global current affairs and geopolitics. Today we're breaking down a momentous and complicated event, the release of Israeli hostages by Hamas in Gaza, a U.S.-brokered ceasefire after 2 years of intense conflict, and what this means for the region and the world. Let's untangle the human drama, the political maneuvering, and the looming challenges that still threaten a fragile peace. The world watches high-stakes negotiations. The eyes of the world have been fixed on Gaza and Israel as negotiations unfolded over the return of hostages taken during the brutal October 2023 Hamas attack. It's now October 13, 2025, and the international community, led by U.S. President Donald Trump, has helped broker an historic ceasefire deal. The atmosphere is tense but hopeful, as both sides prepare for prisoner exchanges under unprecedented pressure from families, politicians, and protests across Israel and beyond. Who are the hostages, and what was the deal? These are not just numbers. Each hostage represents a family's nightmare. The 20 living Israeli hostages were abducted during the devastating Hamas raid that triggered 2 years of violent conflict, mass casualties, and displacement. Their plight has become a national trauma for Israel. Families held vigils, protests filled the streets, and yellow pins became a symbol of both hope and anger. Under the ceasefire agreement, Hamas pledges to release all 20 surviving hostages to the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, while Israel agrees to release around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, many detained in Gaza, some serving life sentences, and others to be sent to West Bank or abroad. The first steps: hostages come home. As dawn broke over Israel, news spread like wildfire. The first group of 7 hostages had been freed and handed over to the ICRC in Gaza. Crowds gathered in public squares watching live broadcasts as Red Cross convoys crossed into Israeli territory. Tearful reunions and scenes of relief erupted as the freed hostages were moved to IDF custody, meeting family for the first time in 2 years. Meanwhile, on the Palestinian side, nearly 2,000 prisoners boarded buses for their own release, flipping the script from despair to anticipation among families in Gaza and the West Bank. Historic diplomacy. Trump's role and the regional impact. The significance of this deal can't be separated from the high-profile diplomacy backing it. President Trump, arriving in Israel in a highly publicized tour, met with released hostages' families, addressed the Knesset, and claimed the ceasefire as proof that the war is over. He will travel next to Egypt to lead a peace summit with more than 20 regional leaders, pushing for long-term security arrangements and humanitarian support. Trump's deal envisions a phased Israeli withdrawal, a new governing body for Gaza, and a U.S.-led multinational force overseeing stability and aid. These ambitions face both skepticism and cautious optimism, depending on which side of the border you ask. On the ground, relief, joy, and lingering grief. Israelis are celebrating the emotional return of loved ones, but for many, the scars of trauma remain. There are still demands for more information about the fate of the deceased and missing. Across Tel Aviv, spontaneous gatherings broke out, and Hostage Square was filled with music, candles, and relief, tempered by reminders of loss. For Palestinians, the joy of prisoner releases is bittersweet. Gaza remains devastated by famine and destruction. Many returning prisoners find their homes in ruins, and families deeply affected by years of blockade, war, and loss. Humanitarian aid has begun flowing in under the terms of the truce, but the scale of suffering is immense. Ceasefire terms and the next steps. The deal is just the beginning of a complex process. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a phased approach: the immediate truce, exchange of hostages and prisoners, and withdrawal of Israeli forces to agreed-upon lines. The formation of a new, externally coordinated body to govern Gaza negotiations on the return of the remains of deceased hostages, with international organizations set to assist if necessary. But challenges remain. Hamas still refuses to fully disarm, and Israel's withdrawal is only partial. Many families, on both sides, remain in mourning, and political distrust is deep-seated. Challenges ahead: lasting peace or temporary calm? While this ceasefire is perhaps the most hopeful step yet, both regional experts and negotiators warn that the road forward is riddled with obstacles. Can a genuinely representative governing authority for Gaza be established? Will all regional actors respect the new arrangements, or could spoilers reignite violence? Can the influx of humanitarian aid alleviate the crisis in Gaza before another cycle of conflict resumes? And crucially, will both sides stick to their promises, or will old grievances and suspicions pull the region back into turmoil? Closing thoughts. This day marks a rare and precious moment of relief in a region too often defined by pain and division. The world saw families reuniting. We saw both Israeli and Palestinian families welcoming loved ones home, amid destroyed streets, wary celebrations, and hope mixed with fear. But history tells us that peace is never guaranteed. Only time will reveal if this ceasefire can blossom into true reconciliation, or if it remains a brief pause in a long conflict. As always, we'll be following every twist and turn, so subscribe, stay informed, and keep asking the questions that matter. Let us know. Do you think this peace can last? What would it take for true reconciliation? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join us next time for more global developments that shape our world.